Hey friends, what's up? Phillip here with Points of Phillip, and I want to talk to you about how I value credit cards and whether or not I think they should be worthwhile. So I'm going to get into kind of the main reasons or the main ways that I actually value credit cards, and I'm going to get into some examples and then figure out what is best for me and what might be best for you. So let's get into it. But before we do that, I want to ask you guys to like and subscribe. Doing that helps me and YouTube know that, well, what I'm doing is helpful for people like you. And then that in turn helps more people to view it, which I also would appreciate. So thanks so much for doing that. But now that that's out of the way, let's get into the video. So there are three main reasons that I value or that I think there are reasons to have a card, right? So the first one is for the benefits and the perks. And so these benefits and perks can be different depending on which card you're talking about. But, well, if you're going to keep a card, it better have something, right? It better bring something to the table. So the other main reason to have a card is, well, for the sign-up bonus. So this is a card where you don't think it's going to be a good fit for you long term, but that sign-up bonus is very intriguing and very engaging. And so these kind of cards are, well, cards that you don't expect to have very long, but you're going to have them long enough to actually be able to get value from that. And then other cards that I get for the spend. And so the reason why I have these cards is because, well, I'm planning on doing some spend on this card, and I like that it is in my wallet for a reason. It's because I can actually earn points or earn really good points for spending on that card. So those are the three main reasons to have this card. So let's take a look at examples of each of those before I get a little bit further. So for example of cards that have benefits and perks, that's going to be kind of the big dog, the platinum card, right? So most people don't have the platinum card for spend, right? It only earns 5 points per dollar on airfare, either booked directly or through the portal, or it also earns 5 points per dollar on hotels prepaid through the portal. And so it's 1 point per dollar on everything else. So you're not getting this card to put everyday spend on. But what you do get with the Platinum card is you do get a lot of other perks that we'll get into later. Now, for the sign-up bonus card, one example that I can come up with is the American Express Business Gold card. So I acquired this card at 150,000 points after I spent $15,000 over the course of 3 months. And so, well, that's a really great reason to get the card. 150,000 points is a lot of points. That's buku business class seats, right? But with an annual fee of $375, you got to do some work in order to be able to actually get prolonged value out of this card. And so that's one of the reasons why I got it for the sign-up bonus. Now, another example of cards that you get is for the spend, and that's going to be the American Express Gold card, right? So this card has a $325 annual fee, but it gets a lot of benefits and perks, but it earns. This earns. When people talk about how easy it is to get American Express points, the American Express Gold card is a lot of what they're talking about. It earns 4 points per dollar on dining and then 4 points per dollar on grocery purchases as well. And so if you're someone who eats food, the Gold card is kind of a no-brainer. You're going to earn points every time you go out to eat. And, well, it's kind of a fun, pretty card to put down on the table after you're done, too. But that's neither here nor there. So you have three different reasons for getting a card: for the benefits and the perks, for the sign-up bonus, and then for the spend. So now that we're into that, I wanted to go into kind of the deeper conversation of how that means I can get value. So if we have three reasons to hold a card, then we have two reasons or two ways we can measure value for that card. So I can measure essentially in three different ways. But two of them are kind of similar. So the first one here is I can value a card for what it gets me. So I can value for a card for how it enhances my travel, or if it makes my life any easier, or even more rewarding. This is a real world value that I can use to figure out if this card is worth it for me. And so I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about there, but before we get there, I want to get into the other two. So the second way I can value a card is what I can do with the points earned from that sign-up bonus. So with that Business Gold card, for example, that 150,000 sign-up bonus, well, can get me a lot. It can get me 2 or 3 nights in a Hilton somewhere, maybe more if I'm staying at a Hampton Inn or something like that. It can get me overseas, for 3 tickets in business class overseas. It can get me 7 or 8 economy class tickets overseas, right? So the way to measure this is what I can do with the sign-up bonus. Now, then the third way to value a card is what I can do with the points that I've earned through spending. And this one is kind of one that people don't really talk about a lot, but I kind of want to because I feel like it's important. So now what I want to do for this video is I want to go through the three main categories of cards, what I've gotten from this so far, and then I want to get into how I use these cards. So let's take a look at the first category. And that's kind of the fun one because you get to talk about the benefits and perks of the card. So we're going to return to our old friend, the Capital or the American Express Platinum card. And well, what that is this is basically is an expensive card. Currently, as of the time of this recording, it has an annual fee of $695. Now we expect that to increase, well, sometime soon. So this card is expensive. It doesn't really earn that well unless you're someone who travels frequently. But it does have a lot of credits and other benefits and perks. So this one, first of all, has crazy purchase protections, travel protections as well. And then you can also use this card to get premium collision damage waiver for rental cars and things like that. And so if you're someone who knows that you're going to be buying something expensive and you want to have that expensive purchase covered, for example, if you're buying AirPods, I would probably use it on the Platinum card because, well, it has that return and replace protection as well. So if I happen to lose those AirPods within the first 90 days of purchase, then I'm able to actually just call up Amex and they can send me the money to get a new one or something like that. So that's a big deal, big reason to have the card too. Now, you also get other benefits and perks. So there's Centurion Club access, which the Centurion Lounge, if you're someone who hasn't been to one, first of all, I encourage you to go to one because, well, yes, some of them you really have to wait a long time at. For some reason, Phoenix just doesn't understand how lounges are supposed to work. But in my experience with the Centurion Club in Atlanta, there's only been a handful of times when I've not been able to get in because of the wait list. And the only reason I did that, so there was one time when I was flying into Atlanta on a Sunday at 3 p.m. And I know that's one of the busiest times because that's when most people are traveling. And so there was a wait list at the Centurion Club. And I decided to put myself on the wait list as soon as I flew into Atlanta. And then I decided at that point to just walk into the Delta Sky Club, which I also get access to because of my Platinum card. And by the time I'd walked to the Sky Club and gone up to and checked in, I did actually get a notification that the Centurion Club was able to receive me. So at 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon in the middle of summer, I was able to get off the wait list within probably maybe 20 minutes. Now, I didn't go to the Centurion Club for that because I was already in the Sky Club. And so for my purposes, what I've been able to experience, getting into it is really easy. Now, if you're someone who's able to get into the Centurion Club, yeah, you might actually have to fight a little bit to get access to like the right kind of chair that you want. But in my experience of going, and I've been 3 times so far, pretty much you just have to look around the room and you can find a seat that's comfortable and that you can use. And if you're not happy where you are, you can kind of sit there first and then kind of maybe go to a couch or something down the road. But these lounges are nice, right? There you have shower suites, you have really nice private bathroom stalls, you have really great food. I haven't ever once been disappointed by the food at the Centurion Club. And what's more importantly, for the Centurion Club, you have the whiskey bar, which is nice, but you also have, honestly, perhaps one of the world's best places to get sweet tea. No matter every time I've been there, the sweet tea has been incredible. It's been awesome. Now, with the American Express Platinum card, you do actually get access to Priority Pass as well. So I use that every time I'm flying out of Orlando. That's been really helpful and things like that. So the Amex Platinum card also is great. Now, you do get Uber credits galore. You do get streaming. So here's the thing. Let's talk about the streaming credits. So that's $240 a year. But if you're someone who's paying for, say, Peacock, the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, or Disney Plus, or even Hulu, you're kind of probably spending close to that already, if not more. And so essentially what you're doing with the Platinum card is you're subsidizing that purchase. So if I'm using that purchase already and I'm getting a credit on my Platinum card for that purchase, I can use spending I'm already doing to subsidize getting able to have access to those amazing purchase protections. I'm able to subsidize getting access to the Centurion Club and the Delta Sky Club. So that's kind of the way that I can value that. Now, a lot of creators like to get hung up on trying to make the annual fee kind of fit, right? So if I get as much credit as value as that annual fee, then it's a good way to do it. So I understand where people are coming from, right? And that makes sense. If you're someone who has to recoup that annual fee, I get it, right? It's fun to do that math, but having access to TSA PreCheck that I purchased with this card, having access to Clear that I purchased with this card, having access to the Centurion Club, having access to Delta Sky Clubs, having access to all of these wonderful perks and benefits of this card make it worthwhile to have, right? So, even if I didn't get the full value of the annual fee, and to be fair, I do, really being able to have access to those perks is something that's important to me. And I'm going to get into again. So let's take a look at the Hilton Aspire card. So the Hilton Aspire card is Hilton's top tier hotel card, and it's my favorite. It's Anthony Venture's favorite, despite the fact that he doesn't have one, and it's everybody's favorite. And the reason why it's not hard to find it. So this card immediately gives you diamond access. So this is Hilton's top tier card, which means that you're getting food and beverage credits, you're getting free lounge access if that hotel offers it. You're getting a lot of things from this card. And it has a $550 annual fee, but the credits, if you're able to use them, are $600. So, if you're doing that annual fee math, it works, right? So if you're staying at these Hilton resorts, it's $400 a year, $200 every 6 months, $50 a quarter for airlines, and that's wide open. So if any purchase or any charge by an airline, $50 is covered, right? So let's say if I wanted to use this to get entrance to the Admiral's Club Lounge, I think that's like $75 or something for a day pass. So if I use it on this card, then I'm only paying out of pocket directly at that purchase like $25. And to be fair, like I've prepaid that value, but this gives me more options, right? This gives me the ability to do things. So I was actually able to use this to upgrade my Breeze seats to Breeze Ascent, and that was a really nice upgrade. And well, I recommend it if you haven't tried Breeze Ascent. It's a solid option, so that's worthwhile as well. So this card, I got this card without a sign-up bonus, so that's really helpful as well. So let's take a look at the Ritz-Carlton card. So the Ritz-Carlton card is another one of those that's really solid option. So it has $300 in travel credit. It also gives you Marriott Gold status, which doesn't really get you that much. It doesn't even get you free food, but it does get you an 85,000 point free night. So if you're someone who's going to be staying at a nice property, paying for an 85,000 point free night with that extra, the $450 annual fee minus the 300 in travel credits is a great way to buy that at a cheaper value. So it's the same credit that comes with the Amex Bonvoy Brilliant, but it's a lot more expensive for that card, right? So if you're someone who's going to be staying at a top tier Ritz-Carlton property or St. Regis property or something like that, this is a good way to go to get that value. So that's important to note as well. So I want to transfer more to kind of the airline cards. So for airlines, the industry standard pretty much is you need to have an airline card in order to get access to free checked bags on domestic itineraries. And then if you want to have upgraded boarding, and that can help, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Or if you want to say, you can even get lounge access, like the Amtrak Guest Rewards Preferred card that I just picked up, that gets me lounge access whenever I travel to New York on the Acela class. So first of all, the sign-up bonus gets me free first-class tickets on the Acela, but then I also get lounge access passes as well, even if I'm not in first class. And so that is really nice as well. So now let's take a look at this card. So this is the Citi AA Vantage Platinum Select card. World Elite MasterCard. It's a very long name. Everyone loves to make fun of it. But the reason why you have this card is because, well, you get free checked bags for you and up to 8 other people on your itinerary, which has a significant dollar value. But you also get upgraded boarding at American Airlines. So if you're just in economy seat, this allows you to get on the seat faster than everybody else, which means that, first of all, you can, essentially make sure that you get comfortable, get situated, but it also allows you to make sure that your carry-on bag is where you are. And as someone who does a decent amount of flying, having access to your carry-on bag close to you means that you don't really have a lot of stress when you're getting off of the plane. And that is huge. And honestly, having that as an actual benefit of this card is really helpful. Now, we're going to talk about the Southwest Priority Card. Now, I love to hate the Southwest Priority Card, but I will be keeping it because, well, I have a decent amount of Southwest points stocked up. And this card makes those points go longer. So this card, the Southwest Priority Card, gets, first of all, you can select your seat, your preferred seat at booking, no matter the ticket price, right? You also get access to essentially, free checked bags as well. But then you also get priority boarding as well, which is nice. And then you also get the potential for an upgrade to an extra legroom seat 48 hours prior to departure. So if I'm going to pay for my seats with points with Southwest, I can just get the basic booking and I still get all of the benefits of a higher kind of ticket tier. So I'm saving essentially points off of being able to make that booking. And so that's having the Southwest Priority Card is helpful if you're flying Southwest. Now, I don't like it. It's definitely a worse card than it was before. But as long as I have those Southwest points, I'm going to have a Southwest card because, well, I kind of need those kind of benefits. Now, we'll see what happens moving forward and how that continues to evolve, but it is what it is. Now, do also want to talk about the Business Delta Gold card. So this has a similar perks from the regular standard personal gold versus the business gold. So we're going to kind of compare the two. So you get 15% off of your points bookings. So if I'm someone who's doing points bookings directly with Delta, transferring my Amex points there, or maybe even just using Delta points, those points go a lot further when I have one of these cards. And then I also get free checked bags as well. And then I also get preferred boarding as well. So this is really great. So now there's the first 4 boarding groups, and you get, boarding group 5. But my buddy and I just recently went to Louisville, and being able to be the first people in economy on the plane gets you wonderful, really kind of access to, you can get your bags all situated, everything stored away. Like I like to pull out my iPad and my AirPods and have them in the pouch behind me. I get to have all of that done before anybody else comes to sit next to me. And even if I'm in economy, and even if I'm, feeling like a sardine with my big broad shoulders, I still have at least a little bit of comfort, and having this card makes that possible, which is nice. And so those are the reasons why I have those cards. Now let's take a look at the reason why, or how I can value, say, the Business Gold card. So the Business Gold card has a $375 annual fee, but it gets you Walmart Plus if you don't already have it with your Platinum card, which I do. But it also has a kind of a business credit. So it's $240, $20 each month of business. So you can do office supply stores, shipping suppliers, things like that. But you can also do it at some really interesting options like Grubhub. So my work has a lot of different places next to me. So for example, there's a taco place that's on Grubhub. In fact, you can only order it pickup on Grubhub. So for lunch, I'm paying for that anyway, but I might as well use it through Grubhub through my Business Gold card to help with that a little bit. But that 150,000 sign up bonus is insane. So I want to take a look at one point redemption that I made with Air France. So Air France was 2 business class tickets for my wife and I from Paris to New York. And I was able to use it for 100,000 points and then about $250 in fees for each person. So about $500 total. That saved $8,000. 100,000 points saved 8,000. 8 cents per point. So having access to this, I will pay $375 to save $8,000 off airfare. Hands down. And yeah, sure, I definitely feel you in the comment section below saying, like you would never pay $8,000 for that ticket. No, I wouldn't. But here's the thing. I got that. I paid $500 and 100,000 points for those 2 business class seats. That's far less than I would have paid for 2 economy seats. And honestly, between you and me, I am not sitting in an economy seat overseas. I'm just not doing it. Premium economy is the minimum. So by having this card, not only was I able to travel in style overseas, but I was able to get, wonderful experience. Unlimited wine, French wine. Like, I mean, it was an insane redemption. So would I have spent $8,000 on that? No. But that doesn't mean that it's not valuable to me, right? I'm able to get value from that because this is something that I provided. This is something that I enjoyed. I provided for my wife, saved $8,000. So this is something that I never would have been able to do without having a sign-up bonus like this. So let's take a look too. Upper class seats, right? So upper class seats I was able to get with Virgin Atlantic. So that was 90,000 points. And my wife and I were able to, again, lay flat on our way back from England a second time. We traveled to Europe twice in the last 6 months. That was only possible because of credit card points. We didn't travel like beggars, right? We were in business class, we were in premium economy, we were doing it, and the only reason we're able to do it is because of these credit card points. And to be fair, we did it debt free too. Now, I want to take a look too at the last category of cards. So we have the American Express Gold Card, the Venture Card, right? So I talked about the Venture Card. That gets 2 points per dollar. It's a $95 annual fee, but you get access to Capital One transfer partners, which is helpful. The Mesa Card, it's no annual fee, but it earns 3 points per dollar on insurance, on going to Lowe's, on home repair stores and things like that, right? And furniture stores and things like that. So, when I paid $3,000 for a couch, 3 points per dollar. There you go, right? All these things are incredibly valuable to me. Now, so these cards that I have because I earn, I'm getting points value. Let's take a look at, so my wife uses the Chase Sapphire Preferred. She does Publix grocery, but she does it through, I think it's Instacart pickup, right? And so that codes is 3 points per dollar on her Chase Sapphire Preferred. And what we were able to do with those Chase points was convert them to Hyatt, and we stayed at for 4 nights during the 4th of July weekend at the Hyatt Regency in Washington, D.C. That saved us about $200 a night. And so that was a lot of money, and that we didn't have to pay for. We didn't pay for a dime out of pocket for that stay. That's insane. Now, for my American Express points, so the points that I earned from my Gold Card that I used for dining and things like that, I was able to transfer those points to Alaska through Hawaiian before that cut off, and I was able to transfer those points or use those points for American Airlines first class seats for my wife and I to Washington, D.C., and then from Philadelphia on the return trip. So for that one trip, we were about a week and a half. We went to Washington, D.C., then Hershey, Pennsylvania. Our airfare cost was $50. Our hotel cost was $0. That's insane. That is value. So now, would I've cost maybe $500, $600 for economy class ticket round trip if I paid out of pocket? Yeah, that I would have paid an extra $1,000 for the hotel. Not having to pay any of that makes these cards worthwhile. So anyway, thanks for listening to me kind of rant and rave about this, but I just want to share my perspective. So thanks so much. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about these point values or how you rate or how you value these cards. But anyway, thanks so much again, and I can't wait to hear you guys. See you guys until next time. Bye.